Greetings from LA, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And today, if you don't mind, I would very much like to continue on with our journey, our discussions, our discoveries, and our explorations with respect to the recent releases made by the Criterion Collection during this year of 2023. And specifically, I'd like to focus our attention, if I may, on this wonderful set, which we have been speaking about a little bit over the course of a number of videos. And this set is the set which is called Pasolini 101, which is focusing in on a number of works, feature film works directed by Pier Paolo Pasolini. And I'd like to focus today, if I may, or speak about a little bit, if I may, about the film, one of the films which is included as part of this set. And this is a film which is described as being from the year 1968. It is indeed directed by Pier Paolo Pasolini. And it is what a work this is. The name of this film is Teorema. This is the work which is described as being from the year 1968, and it is from the director Pier Paolo Pasolini, written and directed by Pier Paolo Pasolini, and this is cinematography by Giuseppe Ruzzolini, edited by Nino Baragli, and music by Ennio Morricone. And among its cast, it's a really great cast. We have, for example, Silvana Mangiano, Massimo Girotti, Anne Wiazemski, and Ninetto Davoli, and starring Terence Stamp in a very cryptic, enigmatic role. And this is the work which is Teorema. It's one of the most compelling works from my point of view in terms of my own journey through the works of Pier Paolo Pasolini. And it's so great that it's again made available as part of this set, Pasolini 101, this Criterion Collection set from 2023. I am reminded that this film, Teorema, was released by Criterion in 2020, I believe. Yes, it was 2020. And this is at spine number 1013 on this Blu-ray edition, again from 1968. So I have indeed spoken about this film in the context of this 2020 release in a separate video. So what I would perhaps suggest is maybe I can direct your attention to such video where I speak about the film, and also I speak about the supplements, because indeed the supplements that can be found on this 2020 disc Teorema are indeed the same supplements that we find here with the Pasolini 101 set. And so we have the commentary track as well by Robert S.C. Gordon from 2007, and plus the other supplements, which are the Pasolini introduction, and also an interview with Terence Stamp, and also a discussion of John David Rhodes. And so we have these supplements and the commentary track, again, part of the disc, the 7th disc, that's included as part of Pasolini 101. Those seem to be part of these seem to be from the Teorema Blu-ray disc from before. There is a difference in terms of the menu art. This is the menu art for the Pasolini 101 set. It's designated 007 as part of the 101 set, so that's indicating the 7th film in the cycle of Pasolini films. The Blu-ray menu is a little bit different. In fact, let me show you what that menu looks like right now. So now I've just put in the disc from 2020. So as you can see, the layout of the maybe it's a little bit difficult to see based on my very poor presentation skills. I very much apologize for that, but you would be able to see this layout and the difference of font, and also there's also music overlaid as well. But You can see here the commentary track is indicated as being here as well as the supplements as before. So in fact, it seems to be, from my eyes and ears, save for this difference in the Blu-ray menu, it seems to be the same disc or the same contents that we saw in this earlier 2020 disc now being used for the Pasolini 101 sets disc, and that's not a problem at all. I think the 2020 disc was quite strong. I should point out too just a number of things, which is the Pasolini 101 booklet has notes about the masters, and it says Teorema, and I quote for the Pasolini 101 set, "This 2K restoration was undertaken by the Criterion Collection at Criterion Post from the 35mm original camera negative and a 35mm optical soundtrack positive." So that's what it says about the Pasolini 101 set. But the Teorema Criterion Blu-ray from 2020 has notes in its pullout or in its foldout about the transfer. And for the 2020 Blu-ray, it says, and I quote, "Teorema is presented in its original aspect ratio of 1.85 to 1. Black bars at the top and bottom of the screen are normal for this format. This new digital transfer was created in 4K resolution on an Ariscan film scanner from the 35mm original camera negative at Cinecittà in Rome. Thousands of instances of dirt, debris, scratches, splices, and warps were manually removed using MTI Films DRS, while Digital Vision's Phoenix was used for jitter, flicker, and small dirt, etc." Now, I looked many times at this earlier 2020 disc, and then I looked many times at the Pasolini 101 corresponding disc for Teorema, and I tried my best to compare with my own eyes and ears, and I know it's a sort of imperfect method of comparison. I grant you that. My own eyes and ears are an imperfect method of comparison, but from the way I could gather it, they looked to me and they sounded to me to be the same. So, and I just try to make it out in the sharpness and contours and the color intensity of certain scenes. They looked to me to be the same or practically the same. So I'm not sure if these are the same restoration materials, just been maybe described differently, or maybe these are indeed different materials, different restorations, and just my eyes and ears aren't able to catch the differences. I'm not sure. My hunch is that it's the former rather than the latter, but again, I'm not a technical expert when it comes to these. I'm merely a consumer of the product. So again, your guess is well, not your guess is probably going to be much better than mine. But again, that's based on my own experience with the earlier 2020 Blu-ray disc, and now the Pasolini 101 set. I should also point out too that the Pasolini 101 set, unlike the other discs within the set, did not have any introductory text to indicate any explanatory notes about the transfer or the restoration. The other films in the set do, but the Teorema disc does not. And so that might be a further indication that indeed what we get with the Pasolini 101 set is indeed what we had gotten in the earlier 2020 individual Criterion Blu-ray release, which was fine, which is absolutely fine. So there's nothing wrong with having this as the disc contents for the number 007 disc for Pasolini 101. That's perfectly fine. So, but again, that's my own hunch and judgment about that. So just some information, again, based on my own subjective experience with watching the film, courtesy of the disc included in Pasolini 101 versus my watching the film courtesy of the individual release from 2020, and that is regarding Teorema. But now I have returned to the Pasolini 101 disc, 007 disc, with the Blu-ray menu that's part of this 2023 box set release, or disc number 7 for this release. So once again, I'd like to, if I may, very respectfully direct your attention to the separate video discussion that I did with regard to Teorema, again in the context of the 2020 individual Blu-ray release from Criterion. So there in that separate video discussion, I'll provide a link here to that video discussion if you're interested. I did speak about my thoughts about the film and also the commentary track and supplements and other comments in context of this Blu-ray set and a Blu-ray release, and I think those comments are I think they are relevant in terms of how I feel about the film even now, even as I watch the film in the context of the 2023 box set. So if you are interested in the discussion that I made a couple years ago about Teorema, please check out the video that I did on that occasion, talking about Teorema for purposes of the video discussions here. But if I can maybe conclude some other comments here about maybe some other differences between, say, the individual Blu-ray release and then the Criterion box set, Pasolini 101, I can point out the booklet and the essay. Now, we will talk about the cover art design of the box set and also the packaging, and then we will talk about the comprehensive essays. But part of the great thrill of this Pasolini 101 set is the individual critical analysis essays provided by James Quandt. And on page 70, we have the beginning of his write-up on Teorema in the context of this Pasolini 101 booklet. And it's another great write-up and essay talking about the many themes and concerns of the film. I should point out, however, that in 2020, the Criterion release from 2020, we had indeed the fold-out. And the fold-out was had an essay. And that essay was written by none other than James Quandt. And the essay here from 2020 is, I would say, it's longer, and I think it touches on maybe in a more comprehensive way. It has a lot of scope to it. Not to say that his 2023 essay, part of the 101 set, is bad. On the contrary, it's a really great write-up. I think it's wonderful. It's not the same essay. I mean, there are some phrases that are identical, but it's not from start to finish an identical reproduction of the essay that we saw in the 2020 release. So it is a little bit shorter, and some aspects I think have been truncated for purposes of this 2023 booklet, but I think the spirit of the essay is still there. And so if you want to check out the essay here in the 2023 booklet, that's great. But if you have access to the earlier 2020 releases James Quandt essay, then my suggestion is, of course, check that out as well. This is, again, in either form, you've got James Quandt's wonderful expertise in the world of Pasolini and then in the context of Teorema specifically. So my strong suggestion is to check out either of those essays. But if you have the ability to check out the earlier 2020 release essay, please do that. It is called, by the way, the title of it here in the 2020 release is called Just a Boy. Yes, and I've spoken a little bit about this essay in my earlier video discussion, in fact. So if you are interested, please check out my earlier video discussion with regard to the film Teorema. But it is a very important film and such a key work in the context of Pasolini's filmography and how it figures in. I mean, one of the great benefits of watching the film in the context of Pasolini 101 is, of course, seeing how one can try to fit it in one's journey in the context of Pasolini's filmography, in one's journey, Pasolini journey. And you go in its context in the late 1960s. I mean, one of the things about Pasolini's works in this box set is that, in many ways, it's a kind of charting of the 1960s, and almost the turmoil and the extremes and the turmoil of the 1960s. And those extremes and that turmoil, I think, is expressed so well, both metaphorically and directly, in the context of Pasolini's work during this decade, and how Teorema fits into that in where it sits in the late 1960s, and the themes that it handles. My goodness, this is such an explosive and very provocative work, and done in this mysterious, enigmatic way. It could go either way. It could go in terms of it can go any way it wants, and whatever option in terms of interpretation one employs has so many deep and profound complications about it, which I think is part of the challenging nature of watching this film Teorema. And it just shows, again, showcasing the brilliant scope of the intelligence and artistry of Pasolini. This is one of his best works. And it's so great that it's included here. It's, again, a reminder too of its legacy and its importance. For those who already have the earlier Blu-ray release from Criterion in 2020, this is also a great place to go. So you can watch the film again, or if you're watching it for the first time and you're getting this box set, it's great. It's a really great film. Again, one of the best from Pasolini in the filmography that is so strong, so heightened, so filled with the key crucial works. This is definitely one of them. This is the work from 1968, which is Teorema. So I apologize for maybe the different way I've approached this film in the context of the Pasolini 101 set, but that's simply because, as I say, I already made a video discussion about it some years back, and I think many of those comments that I said before, I think, are relevant to my approach to this film even now, with, of course, a few exceptions in terms of some of the cosmetic differences and some of the other, say, essay differences that we find from this earlier release to now. So just point your attention to those. But you're still getting the film in one of the strongest films in the Pasolini canon in either option or either format. So my dear friends, this is the film Teorema. All right, my dear friends, so if you are interested in that other discussion about Teorema, I urge you, I hope that you'd be interested to check out that other video. I'll provide links throughout in case you're wondering about that, so please check out that other video if possible. But until the next video, my dear friends, please continue to be happy and healthy and well. And please keep on watching a lot of great movies, including Teorema, including other films by Pasolini and beyond. So until the next video, my dear friends, stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.